In this video, we are going to learn the basics of Python under 12 minutes. Please like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell for instant notifications. So Python is a dynamic and object-oriented programming language. According to the PYPL, Python is the most used programming language. Python is used for web development, software development, and machine learning, and so on. So let's start by downloading Python. To install Python, I've opened my favorite browser, which is Google Chrome, and we have gone to python.org/downloads. Let's click on the first button, which is the latest version. I've already installed Python, so it won't ask me to install it again. But make sure while installing, you select the path option and add Python to path. After opening VSCode, let's go to the extensions. And here I'm going to download the Python extension by Microsoft. So over here, the first one, I'm just going to click on install. And now after we have done this, we have to select the Python interpreter for VS Code. So I'm going to the command palette by Control Shift P, and I'm going to select the first button, or I can just say Python select interpreter. And I'm going to click on the recommended version. Let's make a Python file. To do this, simply make a new file. Name this file anything, but make sure you type .py at the last. So I'm going to name this file main.py. After this, now let's print hello world, and to do this, just type the keyword print with brackets. Here we go. And in these brackets, in between of these quotation marks or inverted commas, let's type hello world. And now let's click on this play button on the top right. And here you can see this shows hello world. We can use numbers in Python. To use numbers, we simply have to just type the numbers, and we don't have to give them, we don't have to make them into a string. So if we play this, it's not going to return any errors. Whereas if we say this as hello, suppose, it's going to say that hello is not defined because that's not defined, as we say here, because it's not a string. We can make it into a string, and then it's going to show that it's going to print it properly. But with numbers, they can be printed directly, or they can be used directly in Python. And with numbers, you can also use operators, like suppose 10 multiplied by 5, it's going to give you 50. Or 10 divided by 5. Or we can even use the remainder sign, where it's going to be 0. But if I have 6 over here, it's going to show a remainder of 4. You can even use addition. You can use subtraction. I think so you can use power. So this is how you can use numbers in Python. Variables are containers which hold value in Python. So if I make a variable called as name, and I just give this the value of, let's say, this name, and if I print the name, oops, sorry, if I print the name, it's going to show the name. Here we go. And we can do other kind of stuff like if I say age and if I give this a value of 11, and if I say name, give a plus symbol, is you can give a plus symbol, right? Age, years, old. So over here, it says that the name is 11 years old. Now if we change to the name to something else and the value of the age to something else, supposedly 13, it's going to say the name is 13 years old, which is the power of the variables. With variables, we can do many kind of things, such as we can see the length of the variable. So if I just print name dot len, oops, I think so. It says 4, which is correct. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. The first value is usually counted as 0, but not when you use the len function. You can even call the first name, like, so if I say name and 0, it's gonna say J. It's gonna say J. And if I just do that, and if I just in a range, I just say name 1, and like this, I can just paste one more line of these names. I can just say 2 and 3. So this is gonna say John again. And even with the age, see, now if I print, now I can't do any calculating with the age because the age is now a string. And if I just say plus 9, it's gonna give me an error because you can't concatenate integer with strings. So if I just say give this value as 9, it's going to say 139. But if I want to add this, what I can do is that keep this to 9, and I'm just going to say pass in. I think so, it's just int. Yeah. And that's age. That's it. Here we go, and it's going to say 22, which is correct. So this is the basics of variables. The next thing, so a list is just like a variable, but unlike the variable, a variable can only hold a single value, whereas lists can hold multiple values. So now if I make a new list and we can assign it with brackets, and I'm just going to give the list some values like mangoes, apples, bananas, oranges, and we can print this. And this is going to print everything. Now what we can do is that we can get the first value, which is mangoes, and we can just get this by just typing square brackets after the name of our array, and in between of those brackets, square brackets, we can type the number of the values we want. So the values always start with 0. So this is how we get mangoes. We can even append new values by just new list dot append. I can just append new values, and I'm going to say star fruits. So I'm just going to say star fruits, and now what am I going to do is I am going to print the last value. We can just do that by saying typing the name of a list and saying -1. So this is how we get the last value. For the second last value we can say -2, but for the last value we say -1. And here it says star fruits. Dictionaries are again just like arrays, but they have keys and values instead of numbers. So they can be specified with curly brackets. Now I'm going to say name. I'm going to set this name to a name. Now I'm going to print this. I'm going to say new dictionary, and I'm going to say the name. So this is the key. So once I type the name, the value, the key between of the brackets as a string, it's gonna give me the name.